Hello guys, I'm back and I got my tea with me, and today is going to be a very exciting one because I'm going to talk about how I walked 341 miles in 20 days, and I walked the Camino del Norte to be more specific. And it's almost 7 years ago, and I was 22 years old. And it was a life-changing experience. And this episode is going to be very packed. But I got so many crazy things happened on this trip. Walking all these miles every day. I experienced something supernatural. Like, I met something. And it happened around the middle of the journey. But we will get to that. Alright, let's get started. So, I've always had this idea that I wanted to walk the Camino. And you do that in Spain. You can also walk... just let me start out by saying that I'm from Denmark. So, you can sort of go through Germany, then get through some of France, and then you get to Spain, right? Like this. Some people walk all the way from Denmark, but that's thousands of miles. And I only had 20 days. And I didn't want to take the normal Camino. What you need to understand is that the Camino symbol is a clamshell. And it is symbolized by a clamshell because there are many stripes leading to the center point of the clam, or like the bottom point. And that's the same with walking the Camino. It's like a pilgrimage, right? And you have to walk. So all the points lead back to the place or the city called Santiago de Compostela. So that's always the goal. So you can walk from all locations of Spain, like in the east or the west or south or southeast, and you get the point, right? And then some people walk from even further back. So the more time you have, the more you can go back. So I calculated that I could maybe walk around 350 miles in 20 days because I didn't have a lot of experience, and you have a big backpack on, and you have a lot of water in your camelback, around 2 liters every day. So there's a lot of weight, and it becomes a lifestyle of just walking. That's all you do every day. I woke up at 6 every morning with the sun, and I just started walking to the next city and the next town. Just keep going, keep walking, right? So, when some vacation started, I was very excited. I had done all my homework, all my research, everything was packed precisely as it should, and my way of walking or traveling would be with a very light bag, right? So I found somewhere that the way you could calculate how much your total weight of the bag should be is that if you weren't bringing a tent and you were you intended to sleep on the hostels, which I did, then you could have a much lighter pack. And that would be around 10% of your body weight. So that's very nice, right? Easy way to calculate. So everything was ready, and I was ready. Very excited. So I fly to Spain, and I believe my starting city was Llanes, it's called. And I did the Camino del Norte, which is along the coastline up north. So you follow it up north all the way to Santiago de Compostela. So following the coastline, then you get inwards, like more into the country, and then you get out to the coastline again. And I really, in my mind, I thought, then I can like bathe in the ocean when I want to. I quickly found out that you weren't walking right next to the water all the time. But I thought, Camino del Norte is way harder than the normal tourist route. If you want to do the very, very basic Camino del Norte, it has become very commercialized, and it's only 100 kilometers. I don't know how many miles that is. It's only 100 kilometers from Santiago de Compostela, and all along that route, there's a lot of people selling you a lot of stuff. So but ultimately, whatever route you take, it will always lead to that final route of 100 kilometers. Okay, so day 1, I arrive in Llanes and I get into a hostel, and there's a lot of people with big backpacks, and like the cost for one stay is very low. I paid between 3 and 9 euros per night, and basically you can take a shower and you can wash your clothes, and then you can sleep on one of the bunk beds, and everyone is just sharing that big room with a lot of bunk beds, right? So there's no luxury, you just sleep. So at that hostel, once I woke up, I quickly saw another person that was checking out of the hostel, and we just got to talking, and very quickly we found out that we were both on day 1 of this amazing journey that we were going to embark on. And we were so excited. And when you meet someone where you have common interests and you have the same goal, it's very easy to connect. That's basically what a community is. Yeah? You have one shared goal, right? Or just friendship or common interest, and we just clicked. I had planned that I was going to walk just 15 kilometers the first day. You're supposed to gradually up the amount of walking that you do, but we messed up because we were ready for adventure, and by the time we had walked and talked for 30 kilometers, we were like toast, totally done. But still, our spirits were so high, right? So we looked at each other and we said, okay, we've been walking all this time. It's been amazing. Maybe we should find the next hostel. But then we found out that the city that we had, or the small town we had arrived in, did not have any hostels somehow. I don't know how. So we had to walk to the next town. No problem, right? Yes, it was a big problem because the next town was an additional 12 kilometers away. And we were already totally burned out, legs destroyed, and we had to walk an additional 12 kilometers. With big backpacks and being new to the game of big hikes. Okay, so we get it done, and it was just crazy. I have never been that destroyed in my life. Ever. It was insane. And I got injured. I got my knee seriously injured because I come from Denmark. It's a very flat country. And in Spain, especially on the north side, it goes up hills, mountains, down, up, down, up, down. And that kind of load on my knees, I just wasn't used to it, wasn't acclimated. So I got a big injury. And that injury would haunt the rest of the trip for me. So if you ever decide to do something like that, just take it slow. Even though you have so much passion burning inside you, so much need for adventure, just slow down and just. I'm talking to my past self, right? It was so stupid. So that was 26 miles walked the first day. And I later found out that my friend that I walked with, he gave up like the next day or the day after. And he flew back to Madrid, where he lived, because he had also, like, it was too much. But yeah, Spain is just beautiful, and especially along the coast. So I would just keep walking from town to town, and I would meet all kinds of people, and it was the same as with this person. I actually have in one of my notebooks, I've written like a few notes on each of the people I met, because they all had like very inspiring and cool personal stories why they had come to Spain to walk and like think about life. And I'll get into some of them, because some of the people I met was crazy. Like, it was insane. But most was just normal, cool people looking for an experience. And there was also a lot of middle-aged people who had some sort of midlife crisis, and they needed to figure out their life. So they came to Spain, leaving family behind, like for that duration, right? All right. All right. So let's get to the point. Like, I could tell so many stories, but I don't want to sit here all night. So I'll just get to some of the things that made a special impression on me, right? I think it was around day 10 of like walking. It usually takes around a week to get acclimated, and then your body and your legs kind of become indestructible, and you don't really feel the pain. It takes around a week. So it was around day 10, and I have walked many miles, walked from sunrise to sunset, meeting a lot of people, talking to so many people. But this one day I was just walking by myself, and there was many times that I was just walking by myself. You could talk to a person, walk around 10, 15, 20 kilometers with them, and then we would just look at each other and say, you also feel it, right? Now it's time to go solo, so we can experience nature and like the peace of just walking without dialogue. So we did. But this day I was walking by myself all day long. And I was in what felt like a vast desert. It was so, there was nothing. No scenery to look. It was just fields and fields and fields. And just a great road that didn't bend or like turn. It was just very uninspiring, and it was just walking, right? And it was like I also had my AirPods with me for sometimes listening to something if I wanted to do that, I'd listen to some music or whatever, right? But that didn't feel right today. Nothing felt right. Everything was just annoying, and my body was hurting somehow. Like, you ever have those days when nothing is just right? Everything is just wrong and annoying you. And that day was the day for me, but it was extreme. I've never been so sad and so angry and so discouraged and so physically hurting before. And I just didn't know what to do. Mile after mile after mile, kilometer after kilometer. But then, from one moment to the next, I sort of just gave up. I just stopped trying to fix how I felt. I just let my guard down. I don't know exactly what happened. I didn't do it on purpose. Or like, I think I just let everything drop. Like, yeah, I don't know. And in that instant, I just felt euphoric. Like the euphoria just bubbled up inside me. All of a sudden, like I was being rewarded for something I didn't even know I did. And I just started running and like frantically, hysterically laughing. Just pure bliss. And I was just running. And I don't know why I was running. Like all of a sudden I just needed to run and laugh hysterically. And then I just started crying. And I just had this burst of emotions just pouring out of me. And then I stopped. I think it was like 5 minutes of this. So I went from the deepest valley to the highest peak of just pure bliss and joy. And it all happened in an instant. Like the worst day ever to like the best moment of my life. And I think that sort of prepared me for the next day. Because the next day I met the supernatural. I experienced something very supernatural. I don't know if it was God or I don't know what it was. So let's skip to that day. Because the day previous day, right after that blissful experience, everything just went back to normal and I had a nice walk, found the nearest town, found a hostel, spoke to some nice people, got some nice Spanish food, watched the sunset and just went to bed because there's something beautiful about you just focus on the basics. Walking and eating and sleeping. That's all I had to worry about. And I think that set me up to be ready to meet the supernatural. I wasn't having all these worries and it was just basic instincts, just basic survival. Walking, eating, sleeping. I loved it. All right. So I had walked with a few people. I think it was some Danes, and then we sort of split up, and I guess they had to eat something, and I just wanted to keep walking or be by myself. I don't know. So I get to this forest, and it's a very dense forest. It when you enter, it's sort of dark in there, and the light from above sort of fades. It becomes gloomy. And I remember walking through it, and there's some sort of weird silence. But I don't mind it much. And then I get to this, there's a hole in the forest, like an opening, like this big circle. So maybe 200 or 300 meters of like a clearance in the big dense forest. So the light comes down right there, and I have to walk through that sort of gap, and then into the forest again. Right as I reach the middle of the circle, I instinctively just know that I need to stop. So I walk from one moment to the next. I just stop. I close my eyes. And I don't know why I close my eyes. Like, you need to understand that I didn't think, like, there was no like active thinking, maybe I should do this, so now I do it. Like, it all just happened. My brain was just shut off in that very moment. So I stopped, closed my eyes, and all sound disappeared. Like, it was like someone put the world on mute. And I'm standing there. And I'm just like letting the things happen that are about to happen. I have no control. I remember it like it was yesterday, that sort of feeling, but I can't. Okay, so there's no sound. I can't see because my eyes are closed. And I don't move and I don't feel my body. But I sort of receive something. It's like something is through some sort of vibration, like just showing me that everything is okay. And I'm being showered in like, it's like all my senses get exactly what they need in that very moment. But I don't think it, I just feel it. So it's like I'm tasting the best cake I have ever tasted, or like the best food I have ever tasted in my life. The best flavor ever. It's like I'm listening to the most beautiful music I have ever listened to, even though it's silence. It's like I'm looking at the most beautiful painting ever, even though I'm just seeing darkness. And it's like my body is being massaged. And, you know, it's just an incredible feeling. And it just happened from one moment to the next. And I'm just standing there, like I'm being pulled into this space of just pure bliss again, but in a different way than yesterday, right? And then it's over. I open my eyes, and right as I open my eyes, the sound returns. I hear birds chirping, I hear the wind in the trees, and I'm back, and I just keep walking. I promise you it's true. And I don't care if you believe me or not, because it happened. It truly happened. And maybe it went on for a few minutes before it ended. But like, I was pleased with it, and I didn't want to catch it, or like, I want more. That part of my brain was shut off. I was just thankful for that experience. I wasn't shocked. It just happened. And then it was like something stopped me, put me through that experience, just to show me something. And then it said, that's fine, Emil, keep walking. And then I like kept walking, and I'm getting like goosebumps or like the chills just talking about it, because it was just one of those times, you know? All right. Stuff like this happens. I didn't get to turn this on. I'm just going to keep going with the microphone from the camera. I guess it was meant to be. I'll get it fixed for the next time, right? So let's finish this story. So I had that amazing experience, and then I just went on with my day and I kept walking. Now, at one point, I met a man who said he was an ex-sniper from the Croatian army, and he had insomnia and said he hadn't slept for years. And he had this big bag of money. Like, there was so many euros in this plastic bag that he just walked around, and then he just showed me. And he said that he had killed hundreds of people during his tours and the wars. And now he was just trying to find peace and like help people wherever he could. And some part of me wanted to believe him. But then he also said that his father had worked with Pablo Escobar, and he had millions and millions and millions inherited to him. And that we could just go and buy a car or like whatever I wanted to do. So I asked him if I could have $10,000. That was like like 10,000 euros. And he said, sure, you can have it. I'll just call my friend, and when we get to the next city, you can have it. And I was like, cool. So we called his friend, and he like keeps buying beers for us. Like whenever I empty my glass, I just want to add that we were at a bus stop, waiting to take a bus to the next city. I don't know why exactly, but there was 5 kilometers to the next city, and for some reason I was just at the bus stop, and I thought, now I'm going to take the bus because something is off today, and I really can't walk these last 5 kilometers. It's going to hurt me. But that was like the only time I did that. But I also met a man who thought that he had been in the wrong relationship all of his life. It was like 30 plus years of being married to a woman, and they had 3 kids together. And he just had this look on his face, like he had realized that his entire life he had been living some sort of lie. And that's why I still remember it to this day. Yeah. He just had this look like of regret, or like that he just found out. And then he told me, right before he met his wife, there was another woman who he loved dearly, but something got between them, and they didn't like stay in that relationship. And then he told me that woman was in Spain right now, and they were going to meet up after 30 plus years. Now keep in mind, he was still with the married woman and his 3 kids. He still had that family. He was just on this pilgrimage of his own. But they were supposed to meet. That was that. Then we split up. Like, I don't judge people, but I guess he wanted to find out how it would feel to talk to that woman again. Then there was a lot of snoring in the hotels. I remember one night where we went to this really pretty hostel, so amazingly beautiful. That did not happen a lot. That was many very very bad hostels, but this one was beautiful. And so I wake up in the middle of the night because someone is snoring like a bear. It's like painfully loud. And I hear the whispers of like a lot of other men just like trying to, psst, psst, hey, wake up, stop it. Like being very polite. But this bear is clearly not waking up. So I just sit up and I just go, hey! And I just yell, and then the snoring stops. It's like, oh, oh, oh. And there's silence. And it's just here in the back. Thanks, bro. and I fall asleep right there. Yeah, that was fun. That was great fun. And I had so many of those encounters and thousands and thousands of memories just from a 20-day trip. It was truly an adventure, right? And when I finally get to Santiago de Compostela, I agreed to meet up with a bunch of people that I met along the road, along the journey. And we just have a big party, and we went out to like drink and just celebrate that we had made it all the way. And it was a blast. And then I get to the airport to go home. And I was just like so happy and chill, and it didn't matter where I was at what point, and like nothing could bring me down. So I booked my flight with a very, very cheap company, and they are unfortunately known to like have flight delays and all sorts of bad things going on. And this was also one of those times. So, but in the queue, so there was a delay and there was some sort of strike going on. So the flight would end up being delayed for 24 hours, and I had to stay in the airport waiting. But in the queue to get some sort of refund or like get rebooked, all that practical, boring shit. I meet a guy called Matthew, and we just get to talk, and I don't even care how much I'm going to wait because I'm talking to Matthew, right? I'm asking him about his life, and he had not been walking the Camino. He was just there. We talk a lot, and then we get to a waiting area, and then I see some of all the other people that I have met, like randomly, and we just have a blast. Like it like just became this social meetup in the airport, and all the hours fly by, and no pun intended. And that feeling of just being in the moment and not being annoyed by hiccup, and turning those like hiccups, or you know what I mean, like obstacles, turn them into part of the journey. That feeling will always stay with me. So if you're into hiking, walking for a long time, or if you haven't tried it, I highly suggest it. Now, that's all from me. Subscribe if you want to see more of more content. I'll cover many of my experiences, but also talk about how I try to live my life, and how like you can turn your life into something very joyful. That's what I'm trying to do. And I hope the sound isn't too bad. I'll try to fix it. And I just forgot to press the record button here. Shit happens, right? That's all from me. See you in the next one. Bye.